Well, good morning. Welcome. We welcome you to Prague and the Czech Republic, and thank you for being part of ICANN's 44th International Public Meeting. And to our gracious hosts here in Prague, we feel very welcomed. I've visited Prague many times, several times I should say, most recently in February earlier this year to help celebrate the 20th anniversary of the connection to the internet for this country. The internet community here is one of the most vibrant in the world, and it is definitely a leader among its neighbors. And it's always a pleasure to be here. You have heard a lot about the big events, the new GTLDs and the selection of our new CEO, Fadi Shahadi. While these have attracted much attention, I want to share with you a few of the many things in progress across the rest of the organization. Accountability and transparency continue to be all important for us, and I have added effectiveness as an essential element. If we don't get our job done and get it done properly and quickly, no one will really care how transparent or accountable we are. And toward this end, let me briefly mention several of the activities that I said are in progress. We are evolving the schedule of our board meetings and the use of our meeting time. We want to make the board more available for interaction with the community. The Friday board meetings were poorly attended, and as you've heard, we've canceled them, but we still get our work done. But more to the point, they didn't provide any real interaction with the board. And the resolutions, as they should have been and were determined well in advance. And that's the proper way for board meetings to operate. We will have public board meetings when there are very important or controversial matters on the agenda. The decision that we took in Singapore to advance the GTLD program, the controversial decisions surrounding XXX are primary examples of what I have in mind. Otherwise, the board will operate quietly and efficiently to respond to the steady stream of actions that the board is required to process. This happens continuously throughout the year, telephonic board meetings, face-to-face board meetings when the board is assembled together. And we'll be happy to say much more about this at the Thursday open forum and use that opportunity for vigorous interaction with the board. We're also evolving and improving the coordination with the GAC through the institution of a GAC register to track inputs from the GAC and to make sure each piece of advice is processed properly and promptly. We intend to increase our interaction with governments, working particularly with the GAC. We have a new CEO, as you've heard, and really two new CEOs, as we announced Friday. Fadi Shahadi was selected and has agreed to join us with a bit of a delay. You will hear from him shortly today. We also have, of course, an interim period, and the board has appointed Akram Attallah, our Chief Operating Officer, as the CEO during this interim period, and you will hear from him as well. The affirmation of commitments remains very high on our list of priorities. The implementation of the 27 ATRT recommendations is moving forward. Some have been completed, some are taking longer. We are increasing the attention level even during this interim period. And this effort is not going to get squeezed out due to attention to the new GTLD program or indeed anything else. At the same time, the other two reviews that were mandated as part of the affirmation of commitments, the security, stability, and resiliency and the WHOIS reviews, their teams have both delivered their reports. We will begin evaluating the costs and resources associated with their recommendations, and we will go through the full public comment process. We thank the teams, particularly Emily Taylor and Kathy Kleiman on the WHOIS report, and Alejandro Passanti, Jeff Brueggemann, Martin Hannigan, and Simon McCullough on the Security, Stability, and Resiliency report, along with the staff for their truly extraordinary efforts. And a huge amount of work goes into these, and I think it's important for all to understand the magnitude of these efforts. We will give these reports our full attention. We also note that the work on the WHOIS review team fits into a yet larger picture of activities that includes the interactions between law enforcement community and the registrars, and also SAC's development of technical framework. We're looking forward to substantial progress on the long-standing who is issues. Also, the SSRT report is just one part of the security efforts. We are strengthening ICANN's internal systems. The spate of problems with the GTLD program commanded the board's attention along with everyone else's. We want to make sure that we understand what happened, and we want to learn from that experience. And although I didn't write this down, it is quite obvious we want to fix them and not make the same mistakes going forward. I'm also pleased to mention the long-standing support that of DNSSEC is paying off and is continuing. At this meeting, in addition to the beginner session this afternoon and the regular strong program on Wednesday, there is now an implementer session that is heavily subscribed and will bring together 24 or more implementers to share experiences with each other. This is an area I've been personally involved in for a long time, and so it pleases me greatly to see the gathering swell. In broader areas, particularly abuse of domain name registrations, we are pleased to see closer and more substantive cooperation with the law enforcement community and with other parts of governments. Equally, we are pleased to see cooperation from the registrar and registry community. While we wish we were further along, we remain committed to insightful and meaningful dialogue and decisions. Moving on to other things, the new GTLD program will obviously bring pressure on our organizational structure, and I want to say a few words about that. We will, of course, watch to see the exciting applications and business models that will arise from these new TLDs. And while that's going on, we are focused on making sure there is tight fiscal control so that the expenses are tracked and managed carefully. And we will also oversee a careful evolution of the organizational structure within the staff. It's possible the GNSO may also be affected by the sharp increase in the number of GTLDs, although it's also possible that their structure can easily accommodate the influx of new TLDs. Whatever the case is, we stand ready to work with the GNSO to help make whatever adjustments may be needed. In addition to managing expenses carefully, we're also very conscious of the visibility and the discussion throughout the community of the funds we have received in this program. Several $100 million is an attention getter under all circumstances. So the questions are, how big is the surplus? How much money is needed to protect against future risk? How much will be done with that surplus? We are in the early days of the program, and it is premature to make decisions. We will make continual assessments, and we will report on these on a regular and full basis. But with respect to the disposition of any surplus, we will not do so until we have a full and open process. We welcome advice and suggestions starting now, and we will find a way to open that discussion and keep track of things. But at present, the only commitment we are making is not to make decisions too quickly. In our interactions with organizations and governments around the world, we have a vibrant global partners team, and we're engaging on the relevant issues that affect the Internet community. This includes, of course, participation in the Internet Governance Forums, or IGFs, support for the Internet Society's excellent initiative on IPv6, the World IPv6 Launch Day on June 6th, just a couple of weeks ago. We would like to see increased interaction and engagement with civil society, and we will look for ways to do so. All of this is consistent with our commitment to the private sector-led multi-stakeholder model for Internet governance. Finally, I want to mention a few major milestones within our community. This is the 5-year anniversary of the Regional At-Large Organizations, or RALOs, and the 10-year anniversary of ALAC. And I'm pleased to be wearing their button. It's still here, yes. This is also the 10-year anniversary of LACNIC, the Regional Address Registry for Latin America and the Caribbean. And we welcome Nick Chile to the 25-year club. As you can see, there's a lot going on. Rod will tell you even more, and we look forward to engaging in a broad dialogue during the public forum. It's now my privilege and pleasure to introduce the next speaker, the Minister of Industry and Trade for the Czech Republic. Our host nation is an internet leader. The Czech Republic is a world leader in the transition to the next generation internet protocol, IPv6, with 8.6% of websites available over IPv6. The nation has also pioneered global efforts to sign the root. .cz already had DNSSEC in place for 2 years when ICANN signed the root 2 years ago in 2010. And in fact, the work done here in the Czech Republic, along with the work in Sweden, Brazil, and Bulgaria, paved the way for ICANN.